leverage architecture firms, project management firms, and just kind of, been real lucky to be able to work with so many great people over these last 2 years doing this. So what I want to do today is just kind of review in the beginning, the first 3 sessions we went over, and then we're going to hop into building relationships, which is the last part of this series. So I'm going to share my screen and get started, but I also want everybody to know that I want this to be super interactive if we can. So please interrupt me. Please ask any questions. You can put them in the chat, but it's easier if you just kind of say, hey, Nick, I have a question. That's typically the best. And, I'll stop and answer your question for you. So let's get started. So the first thing that I want to do is just to review what we went over the last 3 weeks. So the course is based on your social selling index. Everybody has a social selling index. All you have to do is go to linkedin.com/sales/SSI. So I'm going to put this inside the chat for anybody that wants to take a look at their score. You just put that in the web browser and you can see where you're at in your industry, where you're at in your network. These 4 components equal this score right here. And so you have establishing your professional brand, which was week 1, finding the right people, which was week 2, engaging with insights was week 3, and now we're on building relationships. So how you create your industry rank and your network rank is based off of how people in your industry score compared to your score, and then your network the same thing. So that's how you get your rankings. And again, we're just going to kind of recap a couple things real quick. So to me, one of the most important numbers on LinkedIn is who viewed your profile. As I said before, like to me, I believe your profile is your digital business card. So this is what you're handing out through your efforts. Who's kind of going on and looking at it, 10 people from Colliers, 15 from Cushman & Wakefield, 10 from CBRE, and kind of going through and seeing who's been engaging with you. So you're handing out these cards, you're handing out your profile. And what are you handing out? You're handing out the banner, tells who you are, your headshot, your contact information, your about section is you shaking your hands with people. That's how you're introducing yourself. You have a featured section, things that you want them to know, your experience, making sure all the logos are up to date, your educations, licenses and certifications, volunteer experience. And then for me, most importantly, making sure that you have recommendations that people can trust you. So that was all session 1. Session 2, we talked about the My Network and finding the right people. So making sure we're all remembering to use the search with filters. Who do we already know that are first degree connections that we want to meet with? So coming in here, using all filters, coming down and let's say, who do I already know at Colliers, and searching it and saying, okay, let me reach out to Doug and say hi. Let me reach out to John and say hi. You have that marketing channel with messaging. So if you don't have their phone number or email because they switch jobs, you can still connect with people you already know, met at a CoreNet event, but you want to try to set a meeting. The next thing we talked about was leveraging past and current clients. So making sure that your past and current clients know who you want to be introduced to. So going through, same concept. And again, you have to be a first degree connection and they have to allow you into their connections using the all filters button, coming in here and saying, who does he know at Colliers? And then saying, hey, could you set up a golf outing? Could you set up a lunch, a coffee, a dinner? Could I just drop your name? Do you have a mobile number I could use? So your past and current clients want to help you. They just don't know how, and you have to tell them how to do so. And there was a couple other things in that session. Session 3 was all about engaging with insights, creating a LinkedIn posting strategy, doing a post 26 times a year, 52 times a year, or 104. I don't believe you post more than twice because I think you're annoying, you're over posting, and making sure they have a holistic brand, the company you work for, but your role within it. Making sure you're posting about your community involvement, your associations like CoreNet. If you go to a CoreNet event, great CoreNet event, your education, and then industry publications, and making sure we're just sharing who we are with our network. So that's the quick recap of the things we went over in the last 3 weeks. Today, what we're going to talk about is building relationships. We're going to play in the My Network button. today and the notification button today. And as I said, please kind of interrupt me with any questions as we go along. So the first thing that I want to talk about is this contacts section. So inside here, you can actually upload different lists. You can go to add more contacts, export, you have saved contacts from Google, uploaded contacts, all these different things. But what I want to show you is how to get the list inside there. So we're going to kind of take a step back, and this is what the final product would look like. Okay. So when we're inside my network, you can either scroll down and it says more options right here. Oh, let me click this real quick. I got stuck. Hold on. Oh, why is it doing that to me? 1 second. There we go. Still too zoomed in. So where it says more options right here, we're going to click that. That's another way to get there. And you can actually click this upload a file button, or you can check email addresses. If you have Outlook, it doesn't work. If you have Gmail, it does. But we can upload a file. And we can actually come in here and we can pull a database. We can hit upload. But let me show you again. I apologize. You have to save it as a text file. So you have to go into a file, and you have to just have the email addresses. And then you go File, Save As, and then you'll browse, and you'll save it as a text tab delimited. It's kind of weird, but it's how it kind of works. And then after you save that, you're going to be able to upload that file here, these email addresses, and it will then create this right here. And you can kind of go through and say, okay, these are, you can create a whole past and current client list, and you can click these people and you can add these connections. So that's one way to do it, is to upload lists that you already know of past and current clients of your network, but LinkedIn is checking that email address that you have and matching it to a LinkedIn profile. So that LinkedIn profile would have to have that email address. So it's a little confusing, but it's a great way to kind of stay in touch. Like, oh, I forgot to connect with David. David's an attorney who I met at the gym, actually. Let me connect with him, stay in touch. So that's one thing that we can do. The other thing is you always want to skip this section. That means these email addresses are not on LinkedIn. You never invite them to join LinkedIn. So you always just hit skip and you move forward. So what we're going to see when we go inside here is we'll create that piece as well that we just talked about, but it will also create this. So you can go through here and you can have these imported contacts, and you can just hit connect. Invite means that you're inviting them to join LinkedIn. And you can just kind of scroll through. Obviously, message means you're already a first. So you can go through, invite all these people to connect that you're not connected to. And you really only want to connect with people that you have some type of relationship with. I wrote an article recently on the top 10 mistakes I made on building my network on LinkedIn. And I wish that when I was inviting people, I always wanted to meet them, or at least had a 5-minute conversation with them. So don't just invite people to invite people, really invite people that you want to meet with and try to build the right network. But it's really important to kind of do that when you're building these lists of people you kind of know, just not random people you're just spamming. The problem also is when you're asking people to connect, you can really only ask 100 to connect before LinkedIn kind of makes you go to these pending invitation stuff. So it's a little weird. So you have these sent ones, and if you have too many people, LinkedIn will stop you from sending connection request. So if people aren't accepting your request, it kind of causes a little bit of an issue as well. The other side of it is you can have a really cool strategy around asking people to connect. So let's say your goal was to ask 50 people a week, 25 people a week, and then you can go into my network and you can check your connections, and you can say, who connected with me this week? Who connected with me the last 2 weeks? Who connected with me this month? And you can write to them and say, you know, hey, thank you for connecting. Are you free to catch up? Right? Are you free for a 30-minute Zoom call to get to know each other? So you want to kind of leverage the fact that you're asking into a way to set meetings. I think it's really important that you do that. So it's a little confusing to upload them list. It's a little bit confusing sometimes, but you just take an Excel spreadsheet, you just save the email addresses, and then you save the email addresses as a text file, and then you can upload them to LinkedIn to create a database of people that you already hopefully know that you want to see if you're connected to. Very confusing, I get that, but that's what we're here to kind of learn a little bit about this. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to actually share my phone. So bear with me for a second. I got to stop sharing this. Okay. So LinkedIn on your phone, you can go to that little picture in the top left corner. So there's my picture where it says your story with a plus, and then you have this top left corner where you also have settings. And then inside settings, you have all these different options. So as you go through and you see, you can actually sync your calendar, and you can sync your contacts, and you can sync your contacts from your phone, which will create inside that contacts area a database of your contacts if the email addresses and everything works. So that's something that you guys can do as well. That's pretty cool. Why I'm here though, I'm going to teach you guys about LinkedIn stories. It's Instagram for LinkedIn for those that aren't familiar with it. Mainly you can click a picture, kind of see what's happening, kind of scroll across to the right. Very simple in its nature. You can kind of see there's multiple stories for that person, but it's not something that's too complicated as long as you know how to use, Instagram. Now, in my story, you can see that I recently posted, been 3 years in business, some of the clients that I've worked with, 80, what goes away obviously after a second. But what's cool about it is you can actually see who viewed your post. So you can't see who viewed your post when you do something on LinkedIn, but in a story you can. And that's kind of a really cool feature. Now, you can only view this really and create these inside your phone. So that's also something to remember. But you just click that little plus symbol right there. If I can click it, sorry. I'll just use this one real quick. So, and you would just pick any picture you want. You could take a picture. You can hit add this little text to it if you want. You can put whatever you want in there and you can kind of do your post. So I'm not going to go too much into that part today, but just want to let you guys know it exists. Something that's kind of fun that you guys can play with as well. All right. So that section's really confusing of today. Does anybody have any questions about that before I move on? Everybody an expert, got it? No questions? I know it's confusing, so. All right, so we'll keep going then. So the next part of the My Network section is going to be people that I follow. So in people I follow, you can't click this button 26741. I don't know why, just you can't actually see who's following you unless you click 27992, your followers, and then you click back to who you're following. I didn't build LinkedIn, right? It's just a weird thing. Now, let's say for some reason, some of these people are being annoying and they post way too much. All you have to do is click unfollow. You'll still be connected to Bill, but you won't see his post, okay? So as you go through, if there's anybody that's over posting and you just have no interest in following anymore, there's nothing wrong with just going through and unfollowing them. Now, it's really important that you understand that concept, that because I unfollow, I don't see their post, okay? So being connected to your network is important because if you're connected, they're more likely to see your post, okay? You have some filter options here as well, but we'll get into that. So again, you can't click the button until you go to followers, and then you go to following. Something that's just, you know, a little simple, but a little confusing as well. So the next thing we have is groups. Groups is one of my favorite things from like a workaround standpoint. So it's the only way you can direct message somebody that you're not connected to without paying. So if you go inside here and let's just say Brent or any of these people I wanted to message, I can actually click message. And because we're both members of the same group, I can message Brent even though I'm not a first degree connection. So really cool workaround for you guys that are trying to say hi to people. And obviously using CoreNet Global has a lot of members. There's probably a lot of people you want to say hi to inside that. So, you know, groups are interesting for you guys to kind of get involved with a little bit. I wanted to say that from a posting standpoint, there's lots of engagement inside groups, so I'm not a big poster in them, but they are good for connecting to be able to message. So just keep that in mind. What we're going to talk about next is events. Now, this is probably something I have the biggest love-hate relationship with on LinkedIn. I don't think they built it right, but I want to teach you guys about it because it does have a lot of value to it. It just can be a little confusing. So as we look through events, we have a couple things that I want to teach you guys. So let's use this one, for example. So this one right here, it said there was going to be like 86 people going to attend or 85 people that were going to attend. But 0 of these people actually attended the event because they didn't really know what they were saying they were going to attend. Thank God I did email marketing and other marketing, and we had over 40 people attend. But it's really important to understand that people consider this as like an ad more than anything else. And even though there's a link for you to register, people didn't really know what it was, right? So it's just one of these things where it's confusing to a lot of people. There's some good data here, some good details about it, some good networking stuff, some good analytics that you can see when you create these events. And it can be like very, very cool if we learn kind of how to work it and how to leverage it in the right way. So here's a good example where I had an event. So CRA keys to successful on LinkedIn, and I put in parentheses, must register via a Brent link. Here's the link. I put the link in, you know, I really kind of put it inside here to let people know really what it's about and made sure that they would actually go to the link to register. So you shouldn't have to do that, but again, it's just people don't know what they're accepting when you're inviting them. So they have to figure that out. Now, creating these is also a little difficult. So I want to make sure that I walk you guys through that. This size of this is very, very weird. It's a 4:1 ratio type of a thing. It's not really a normal size. So when we kind of upload this and we're just, let's say, using any type of picture, it doesn't really matter. It only gives you like a very small portion of it. So you have to kind of either create a custom graphic or make it work in that way. And then I typically, when I create these things, will have some type of logo that I put right here. And again, the sizing's a little weird. Your event name, you can just put whatever you want. Make sure your time zone starts are all right. You have your description. You can actually, the speaker part's pretty cool. I'm a big fan of that, which is real nice. People just have to accept it. Then you have a public event or private event. Allow attendees to invite their connections. You know, they have to have the link type of thing. And then you can put your Eventbrite or whatever your link to register is here. Now, when you kind of, you can also say it's online versus that as well. So what I want to show you guys though, the cool part of this is once we create an event, you can actually invite your entire network from clicking a few buttons. And there's a lot of filters. So you can go here and let's just say, for fun, we want to invite everybody that I know from Colliers. So I can come here, click that, and then I can just pull that down and then just click it, which is nice, versus having to send an individual message to everybody about the event. They'll get individual messages, so it's not a group message going out, and it's really cool. You can do the same thing if you're trying to invite alumni to something, certain locations. So it's just a nice little thing. There's a couple features to it that I really like, and that you guys can have some value with. You can look at certain industries, you know, who are in the construction or architecture and planning or real estate. That's the best feature. But I think what's important for me to teach you guys is to remember that it's really like an advertisement section for an event. Okay. So people aren't really understanding what they're accepting. So when people, I'll show you one more time. So when people like registered for this summit that I have out in Lake Tahoe in a few days, I went through and I individually messaged them. So it's important for me to kind of click these people and then message them and say, hey, Ed, you know, if you really want to attend the event, please click this link to attend. So it's almost like they're saying that they're a lead, a person or a company that's interested, and it's your job to sell them after they say they're going to attend your event. So just don't rely on them saying that they're good to go. So I'll pause there for a second. Does anybody have questions about events before I move on? Everybody good? All right, so let's keep going. So one of my favorite things, newsletters, is they're actually coming out with this to allow more people to create their newsletters, but we're not going to go over that today. We're going to talk about hashtags a little bit. So hashtags have real value. So you can see there's 4.2 million followers, 21.3 followers. Hashtags actually have value because I follow these hashtags. LinkedIn decides to put content into my feed for me to see. So we don't kind of just like make up hashtags. So let's just say like 100K challenge. There's 75 followers. So all of these hashtags actually have value. So you want to pick ones that people are actually following and that are relevant to your post. So 3 is a good amount too. So this is kind of weird. Like if I copy this link and I paste it, you can see perspective, gratitude, and let go are what create that URL, right? So there's this algorithm piece around tagging that is, or hashtagging, that's really important. And you can see that these are the hashtags that they use to create that URL. So you don't want to just make it up, is my point. You can research these. You can come here. This is one of my favorites, hashtag pharmaceuticals. Has 1 million followers. And then if I just got rid of the S, it has 76,000. So like one letter can be a difference between more people possibly saying it. So you just want to pick three that are relevant. Some of my favorite is like networking. If you're at a networking event, so it's got like 3.5 million. If you're doing like an education post, hashtag education, it's got 9 million. And then if you're doing something around like fundraising, it's got 5.7 million. So all these things you can kind of just, you know, understand technology, 26 million, construction, things like that. So you guys get it. Search your hashtags, know their value. If you can build a hashtag, like obviously that's super powerful. It's just very hard to get people to connect with you, follow you to begin with. But if you can get them to follow a hashtag, that's tons and tons of value because they're more likely to see your post when you use that because they follow you and they follow that hashtag. So very, very important. Okay, so we're going to keep going. And again, if you guys have questions, just, please interrupt as we go. What we're going to talk about today is the notification section. This is one of my favorite sections. To me, this is built wrong again. Normally there's a bunch of garbage here. It's news, it's a bunch of stuff, and I'll never see whose birthdays there are. So I wake up every day and I pick a few people that I want to, and I wish them happy birthday. So today I wanted to wish Shayna happy birthday, and I came in and said, happy birthday, right here. She wrote, thank you. And I said, we should do lunch soon. And she's like, sure, let's do this. Right. So I wrote an article on, everybody loves being wished happy birthday. To me, it's one of the best ways to build relationships with your network. You really just want to go in and wish people happy birthday that you want to. You don't have to wish everybody happy birthday, but you can just pick who you want. You also want to see when people have work anniversaries. So I reached out to Scott yesterday, wished him happy birthday or work anniversary. And then when people change jobs, but you can see how clean my notifications are, right? There's just not a lot to it. It's just a clean system, but you have to make your system this way. So what you do is you go to view settings. And you just have to turn everything off. So inside conversations, you can go through, pick what you want to keep, delete what you want to delete, and then you just go back. Enterprise products, you can have things on that you want. It's up to you. Help center, jobs, so I just have jobs off. So all these things that I could be getting bogged down in my news feed or notifications I get rid of. If you look at my network, I keep birthdays on, I keep connections, anniversaries on, and I keep certain things on that I want to see, but I get rid of a lot of the annoying stuff. And then the most important one to get rid of is the news. You can just turn that all off. It's just annoying. LinkedIn fills your notifications with it. And then you can also just keep some things on that you want with your profile, turn things off that you want to. So cleaning up this system to me is like extremely, extremely important. You don't want to kind of have a dirty notification system, because then you really can't engage and build relationships with your network. So it's just very hard. And when it's just busy like that, it just makes it difficult. The other way to do it is just by clicking this dots right here. So you can actually click this and you can turn off receiving notifications like this. So if that ever gets too annoying, you can just get rid of that and kind of move on. We're going to go into a couple other ways to kind of build relationships in a second. So one of my favorite ways to build relationships, we went over last week a little bit, is when you create a post to send it to people, right? So clicking this, copying the link to the post, and looking at your network and saying to people like, hey, just want to share this article I wrote. Hey, we just did this project. I want to share it with you. Hey, just want to let you know we've been in business for 3 years. Love to help you. So there's nothing wrong with kind of going through your connections, and sharing it. Oh, let me, there we go. And then just messaging, pasting it in there, and then it pulls up that post. So being able to communicate with your network is just real nice. And then that image pops up. So messaging people is another great way. Now, the most important way to build relationships on LinkedIn, and this is one that I want kind of everybody to really kind of pay attention to, is really not about you. It's about them, right? And that's typical of building relationships. So I'm going to teach this in regular LinkedIn, and then I'm also going to teach it in Sales Navigator. One of the greatest things that I learned is the like button and the value that it has to your network, the commenting button and the value that it has to your network. So I used to not understand myself how valuable that was to me doing business development and networking with my connections, right? But when I like this, Nick appreciates this. When I comment, Nick appreciates even more. When I share, Nick appreciates even more as well. So I used to look at my feed kind of as just annoying, like people are posting. But now I look at it as Nick is speaking directly to me. Okay. And I recommend that everybody start doing that. So I consider this me and Nick right now at a networking event, and we're standing across from each other, and he's telling me a story, right? So if I was just going to ignore Nick at that event and turn around and walk the other way, he'd probably think that's pretty rude. Like he just told me a story about, 1992 self-made entrepreneur Henry Rowan donated $100 million. And I was just like, all right, and I left him. So I tried to now engage with the post that my network sends, because two things happen. The more that I like and comment on their post, the more they're going to like and comment on mine. And it also allows you to be a little another soft touch to kind of stay in touch with people, because people check their likes, they check their comments just like you do. So it's really important to kind of stay in touch and kind of have authentic comments as well, right? So we don't just kind of want to make them up. Now, if you don't have a comment, that's okay, right? You can just agree like you were in a conversation with Nick and be like, oh, Nick, thanks for telling me. That's kind of like a like, right? A comment's you kind of responding back to Nick. He's telling you a story socially, but you're responding to that story socially. This was like a big kind of like epiphany for me, to do a better job of engaging my network through conversation on LinkedIn through their post. And I honestly think it could really change your life as well if you guys start looking at a post as a conversation somebody's having with you. You'll obviously get these promoted ones in here. And obviously we're just going through our initial feed, right? Not even a different way, but we can go through and see, who do we want to engage? What stories are they telling us? How do we want to engage them back? So going through the feed and just not looking at it as a news source, but as people having conversations with us. So like Stephen was with Transwestern, obviously, now he's opening this with Lindsay. How can I engage him? How could I have a conversation? Is it just saying, hey, I like that, congrats? Or is it a little bit deeper, right? How am I engaging? How am I building that relationship through my comment, through my share, through my like? You can also message them direct. Hey, saw about this, congrats on it. You don't obviously have to make it a public comment. It could be a private comment, but people only care about you if you care about them. And so I really would challenge everybody to start looking at the news feed in a little bit different of a way. How do you have conversations back with people that are posting on LinkedIn, and how do you engage them in that way? Now, the problem with your home news feed is that it's dirty, just like filtering and every other system in LinkedIn. It needs to be cleaned up. So there's a unsophisticated way, which we'll talk about through regular LinkedIn. And then there's a sophisticated way, which we'll talk about through Sales Navigator. So over here in the search bar, right, we can come here and we can look at post. Now this is going to be unsophisticated, okay? It's not bad, but you can look like posted by, me or first degree connections, right? You can go through and you can hit show results. So now you're seeing your first degree connections post, and you can go through and see if there's any that you want to engage with. The problem is people who post a lot will show up a lot. It's a little dirty in the way that it's done, right? But it's not bad. You have date posted, past 24 hours, past week. Again, I want to engage people that have relevant type content, right? You can sort it by here, top match, what was the person who just posted, right? So Rod just did something about online masterclass, right? And then you can also check it by industry. So you can come here and you can say architecture and planning, right? And you can go through and see, okay, Rob just posted something, Kay just posted something, and you can say, this is helping you figure out who do you want to engage, right? Who posted the past week. So you can like it and comment and go through. So it is really important that you understand, who's posting. You can pick multiple industries as well. It can be like construction, real estate, any of the big ones, commercial real estate. So nothing wrong with going through and using this as, some way for you guys to kind of identify what post you want to engage with. Now that's one way. This all filters, just so you guys know, doesn't really add anything else. It just kind of shows it over here. And you can also come down here and put in, let's say, like Colliers, and we can get rid of construction, top match, the month, and first. So you can go through and see who posted and kind of make your comments as well.
Hey, Nick, stop with the Colliers, will you, for Christ's sake?
Sorry, John's the moderator, so I apologize. I apologize, Dale.
A little C&W promotion would be good here.
I'll do all C&W moving forward, okay?
Hey now.
So, but I saw that John posted
We
something.
can share. We can share.
I can like it and go from there. So to me, it's just really, really important to, see what Dale's posting and making sure I like it and everything that's happening Cushman and Wakefield in this world and promote the hell out of it. Right. So just to engage that. So that's kind of, and again, I think that's kind of like the unsophisticated way to do it, but it's obviously not bad. It just doesn't really kind of get you where you want to go. So some of this other stuff is a little bit better, where you kind of have these leads and accounts. I'm not going to show my stuff, but just want to show it kind of organically a little bit. But you can go through and kind of see who in your network. You can see right here, Cushman and Wakefield. Perfect timing. Good job, Dale. Aaron did a post. Great news for New York City. I already like this, obviously, right? But I'm making sure that he's somebody that I follow and I'm choosing to follow him. And I have a list built of people that I follow. So I'm not just randomly looking for people's posts to like. I know exactly who I want to, right? So there's 3 ways to kind of to do this is just kind of looking at your home feed, right? What is who's LinkedIn saying you should see content of today, right? Then you have this like post search regular LinkedIn using some of the filters to kind of get you closer, right? Or you can get real sophisticated with it and say, I'm going to check each day, did any of these people post? And Sales Navigator is $80 a month for somebody who's going to ask that question. But it's amazing in itself of how it works. But it's just really nice to say, I'm going to go in and see exactly who's posting and making sure that I'm engaging them because these are people that I really want to build a relationship with. And it's just one of these things for me where it took me a long time to learn that it's not about my post, as it's just one form of LinkedIn, right? So you post, tell your story, but it's really about these micro conversations. It's really about the commenting and liking on other posts. It's about wishing people happy birthday, congratulating them on their work anniversaries. I typically will change the work anniversary to be like, congrats on your 10-year work anniversary, just because I think it helps than just saying congrats on your work anniversary. Cleaning up that notification section. So you're actually seeing when it is people's birthday and when it is people's work anniversaries. And again, I just check that each day. It takes me like 2 minutes, right? It's not like it's a lot of time. Making sure you're connected to all your past and current clients, making sure you're connected to your entire network so you can even see their posts, so you can even ask for introductions or LinkedIn testimonials. All these things are really important to building relationships. I had a call earlier today with somebody and I said, for a BD person, for me, it's really important that they can do 3 things moving forward. They can network in person, they can network virtually, and they can network socially, right? Because you can't pick up the phone and call 500 people and tell the same story in 20 minutes like you could do a post. You need to be able to do all 3 things in this new world we're living in to really be as effective as you can be. And I feel like this platform versus like Instagram or TikTok or Facebook, is really that business platform that you should focus your time and energy on to really kind of grow your presence, your brand, and engage and build with your relationships that you meet over time. The lady Shayna that I showed you guys is somebody that I met, and just wishing happy birthday. We're going to have lunch, right? So you just have to constantly be engaging people. You can't really, hop on and off and give it like a 3 months break on LinkedIn or a 6 months break. It's just something if you spend an hour a week on, you'll be very successful on, right? Do a post, see who your first degree connections are that you want to say hi to, who are your past and current clients that you want people to introduce you to. You know, who are people and companies you want to meet and your network can introduce you to? Who are your network that you're trying to stay in touch with and you're liking and commenting on their post, wishing happy birthday, things like that. So it's a very powerful, powerful platform. And it's a great soft touch type of tool when you can't call somebody every day, you can't email them every day, you can't take them to lunch every day. So all these things are just really important of why you guys should really try to continue to use this tool and continue to grow with it. So we have about 15 minutes left. I have a couple more things to show you guys, but is there any questions on anything that we went over these last 4 weeks? Anything that I just talked about? Any questions from anybody? All good? All right. So I'm going to set something up and we'll get into the next part of this. Just bear with me 1 second while I set it up. All right. And Dale, this one's for you, okay, buddy?
I'm here.
All right.
Looking forward to it.
All right, you guys ready? So this is something I just want to show everybody as a tool for them to use. It's called Canva. If they're going to be doing any post and they want to kind of use a really simple tool without having to go use like InDesign or any other thing. So you can upload like any image you want, kind of put it inside here, especially if you're writing articles or need any type of kind of editing stuff. There's a couple of my favorite things on this we'll get into. There's this element section right here, and there's some background. So you can go in here, put this on top of this. Let me make this big. And you can actually fade this so it doesn't cover everything and it's only just a very thin covering. So you can kind of have some type of fade if you like, right? You can do this fun thing right here, the logo, put in the top corner, whatever you want to do. But this is my favorite, is the pictures. This is something I'm obsessed with. So you can actually remove the background filter. Like this would take forever for somebody, like I'm not a guy who knows how to do this in InDesign. So for me, this is great. And it just cleans it up. So, and you can kind of put it here. You can kind of have whatever you want. You can go in to text and you can kind of say, you know, something you want and write an article, whatever you want, and put it in here and kind of have that as a graphic. You can use this as just a nice way to kind of work with things that you want to, either from using, you know, kind of the elements, uploading photos, cleaning up, you know, different photos of people, but just something that's really important tool, I think, for a lot of people to be aware of. I usually do it in like a 1200 by 600. This is also really, really great for the event section that I showed you guys, the 4:1 ratio. This is also really, really good for LinkedIn banners. So if you're in the home section and you guys don't have a LinkedIn banner, they have all them sizes for you guys as well. So you can go to create a design and you can just type in LinkedIn. And then you have banner. So there's one for the company and then there's one for the personal page. So they have LinkedIn posts, they have the sponsored content, different stories, all these different things. So it's a nice, easy, there's a $13 a month program, which I use. There's a free version. But if you need some type of quick kind of marketing tool and you don't know how to use InDesign and you don't know how to use any of these programs, it's very, very effective and can be great. So I have one more thing to teach you guys, but do we have any questions before I do that? Everybody good? All right, let me just set this up. And to me, it's the most important thing to kind of leave you guys with. That. We're just gonna do this as a test real quick for you guys, but I just want to show it to you. So one of the last kind of ways to kind of build a relationship is, and I know we've gone over this from just a generic asking for recommendation standpoint, but if you really want people to, you know, understand, do they trust you, right? It's to ask them for a recommendation. And if they're willing to write you a recommendation, they're willing to introduce you to their network. So this is really kind of an important kind of like clarification on building that relationship. You know, I know this one's a Collier one, Dale, but you know, working with Nick over the last year has produced incredible results. I've had over 75 meetings and secured 7 new clients. I also have specifically expanded my network. He has helped me accomplish this by keeping me focused, organized, and motivated. His ability to teach me proper sales and marketing techniques and use various tools like LinkedIn, HubSpot, Global Data, Zoom Info has been extremely helpful. During our weekly calls, I've always learned something and come away more prepared. Last, he's a trusted advisor who I can call anytime and use as a sounding board. So obviously, if I asked Clifford for an introduction, he'd be more than happy to do so, right? Because I know that he trusts me because he was willing to write me that recommendation. And so that really kind of solidifies that relationship that I'm trying to build when people are willing to write me recommendations. So I just want to show you guys all how to ask for it the right way. Obviously, it can be very conversational. You have to be like a first degree connection with people, right? You can say they're your clients, you can say the position, and you can just say, you know, send this. The right way to do it is to go find that person, because not everybody uses LinkedIn all the time, okay? And to take this message that you just sent them and copy that. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go here, and I'm just gonna paste this real quick. And then I'm gonna come back here and just copy this. All right. So it could be something as simple as this, right? I was wondering if you would write me a LinkedIn recommendation. All you have to do is click the link below and write 3 to 5 sentences about your experience working with me, and they can click it. We have to create it as an email that we're sending to people. And the reason why that's really, really important is because if we don't create the email, they may never see that we asked for the recommendation on LinkedIn because they may not use it that often. It can be easier to ignore, but if it's inside an email, it creates a task for that person to accomplish, and it makes it easier for them to just click that button and go in. You're sending them and telling them exactly what to do, right? There's nothing wrong if somebody asked a question to write the recommendation if somebody asked you to, because they would not approve it if they didn't believe it, right, as well. There's nothing wrong with you telling people a few things that you'd want them to mention as well. I personally like it when I don't ask or tell people what to write. Like I actually want to see what they think of me. So I'd recommend that you don't do it unless they ask you to write it. But if you have to, you know, there's nothing wrong with that as well. But it's just, to me, just the most important way to build relationships on LinkedIn and with your connections is to get that testimonial. It shows so much value to all of your other connections that you're trying to build relationships with. Everybody, before they meet you, they're looking at your profile. No matter what they do, your resume is on LinkedIn and they want to know who you are. And recommendations really tell who you are more than anything. So, if you're looking for a job, if you're looking to be qualified for a project, being able to get client testimonials really solidifies that relationship that you have with your network, that person who wrote it, but also really helps build that relationship with the rest of your network, allowing for trust. So I was at a breakfast this morning with a lady who's at an architecture firm. And we were talking about building relationships with like end users and things like that. And I like to say there's like 3 different stages, right? So you have people that they just know you exist, right? But they may not like you yet. You just maybe met them for the first time or one time at an event, right? You have people that like you. They'll answer your phone call, they'll answer your email, but they've never given you any business. They've never referred you business. They've never given you any business. They've never made introductions to other people who could give you business. So they like you, they're friendly, but that's not really what we're trying to accomplish in sales. We really are trying to get to the trust phase, right? And everything we talked about today is really to get to that trust phase, right? So you're building them relationships so they trust you. So they're willing to give you work. They're willing to take a chance and let you get that first project from that big company you've been chasing, or even just win that small project from that project manager or from that architect if you're in furniture, right? We need to build the trust. We need to make sure we're connected. People are seeing what we're posting. We're engaging our network. Even when people make introductions for us, the post help them want to feel comfortable making it. So it all really works around building relationships, not just what you see on LinkedIn, but how your holistic network reacts to you holistically. So it all plays a part. And sometimes just wishing people a happy birthday really can help take it to that next level. Just engaging through messaging, commenting, liking, all that stuff is just very helpful. So we have 5 minutes left. I am going to leave that for questions. If we don't have any questions, we will leave 5 minutes early. So it's up to you guys. So, John?
I'm looking, there's nothing in the chat. So
Everybody
it's open for
good?
anyone. Now's the time.
Everybody want 5 minutes of their life back?
Thank you, Nicholas. That was really informative. I wish I caught the first 3.
Oh, I think they're all recorded. John can send them to you.
Yes, John, if you like, shoot me an email and they're recorded. I think you may be able to access them on the New York City chapter site. I'll circle back with the Berman group, but if you want to see the recorders, we can get them to you.
Thank you.
Do you have any
got it.
questions, John?
No, I have all kinds of notes here. I have to go back and try it.
Okay. Yeah, the hardest part is just consistency, right? So what I would recommend is just start out doing a post every 2 weeks, right? Just reaching out to your network saying hi. It's really not too hard, right? It's just, I like to say the whole thing with LinkedIn is you're doing exactly what you would do in person, just socially. You're going to act the same. You're going to respect people the same. You're just trying to take it into a social platform.
This is my 3rd time taking it. I still learn every single time, even though I'm technically horrible, but I'm trying. It's always great, Nick.
Thanks, Dad. Are we getting together for lunch next Wednesday?
I believe it's on. Are you buying?
I'm buying. Let me know where you want to eat. I'll send you an email after.
We'll figure it out.
All right, buddy.
All right.
Can I also get the past videos? I think somebody had a question.
Yeah, here we go.
Yeah.
If you want,
please reach
yeah,
out to John and John will send
Yeah,
them.
just shoot me an email. It's john.pavone@colliers.com, and I can get you a link to where the recorded sessions are, and we'll make those available to you.
All right. Any other questions from anybody? Comments, concerns, thoughts? All right, John, I think we're going to let everybody go early.
Okay,
That was great. Thanks so much, Nick. Thanks, John.
Nick, thank you. This was wonderful. These sessions were great. And people, if you want to reach out to Nick, he can do these personally. If you have a team within your company, He's more than happy to do these to you guys individually with your team, and I highly recommend it, which is why we wanted to have these sessions for our CoreNet membership. So Nick, again, thank you very much. These were 4 great sessions.
Thank you to Herman Miller and Ben Har for sponsoring.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you.
everybody.
Nick, see you next week.
Thank you, John.
All right, you got it.
Everybody.
Bye.
Bye.